At 11:48 p.m., her room is finally quiet. The dishes are done. The messages are answered. Tomorrow's clothes are already on the chair. Nothing urgent is happening. Nothing is on fire. No one has just broken her heart. No bad news came today. And still, she is sitting on the edge of the bed with one hand pressed to her forehead, like she is trying to hold something in place. The lamp beside her is small. The window is dark. The whole room looks calm enough to rest in. But her mind does not feel calm. It feels crowded, heavy, loud in a way that has no sound. This is the kind of exhaustion that confuses people the most. Because when something terrible happens, pain makes sense. You know where it came from. You know what to blame. But this kind of heaviness arrives on ordinary days. Days where nothing dramatic went wrong. Days where you still got through your list. Days where, if someone asked how you were, you would probably say, "I'm okay," and maybe that is what hurts the most. When there is no visible disaster, you start suspecting yourself. Maybe I'm weak. Maybe I'm just too sensitive. Maybe everyone else is carrying life better than I am. But some minds do not get heavy because the person is weak. Some minds get heavy because they have been carrying too much, too quietly, for too long. She is the kind of person people call reliable. She shows up on time. She remembers birthdays. She replies with full sentences. She notices when someone's tone changes. She catches little problems before they grow. From the outside, that looks like maturity. What people do not see is how much of her life is spent bracing. She thinks ahead before she rests. She replays conversations after they end. She feels responsible for moods that are not hers. She keeps trying to prevent pain before pain has even arrived. A long time ago, she learned something she never put into words. Stay alert. Notice everything. Do not be the last one to realize something is wrong. So now, even on peaceful days, her mind stays on duty. That is the hidden wound in people who always look fine. They do not only carry the day in front of them, they carry the next possibility of disappointment too. And after enough months like that, a person can start mistaking over-functioning for strength. She does not call it strain. She calls it being responsible. She does not call it fear. She calls it thinking things through. She does not call it exhaustion. She calls it needing to try harder. That is how a heavy mind gets ignored, even by the person living inside it. You can see it most clearly at night. She lies down, pulls the blanket over herself, turns the room dark. Her body is in bed. Her mind is not. It starts with one small thing, a message she sent earlier, then a look on someone's face from that afternoon, then a bill she needs to remember, then a memory from 3 years ago that is somehow found tonight again. One thought opens a second. The second opens a fourth. Soon her mind is moving through rooms her body never entered. The apartment is silent, but inside her, everything is still awake. Then morning comes, and the tiredness is already there. Not dramatic, not crushing, just present. She opens her eyes and feels like she has returned from somewhere far away, even though she never left her bed. The sunlight at the window is gentle. The kettle clicks on in the kitchen. The day has not done anything to her yet, but she is already tired of having a mind. Later, standing at the sink with a cup in her hand, she stares too long at nothing. Water runs over her fingers. She does not move. There is no clear thought she can point to, only pressure, a low mental ache, and because the scene looks so ordinary, she tells herself not to be dramatic. That is the quiet cruelty of this kind of pain. It can make a person feel guilty for needing care. The shift begins on a small Tuesday morning. A coworker glances at her and says almost casually, "You look tired." Not cruelly, not deeply, just honestly. And something in her almost caves in. Not because the comment is harsh, but because it lands too close to the truth. For 1 second, she wants to cry at a sentence that was never meant to wound her. That unsettles her. She goes to the restroom, looks at herself in the mirror, and sees what she has been refusing to name. Not weakness, not laziness, not failure. Weariness. The kind that comes from carrying too much internally, while still appearing functional on the outside. But even then, she does what many people do. She tries to fix it by becoming harder on herself. She tells herself to stop overthinking. She promises to be more disciplined. She decides she just needs a better routine. She listens to something in the background at all times, so she will not have to sit in her own silence. She scrolls at night until her eyes sting, then calls it unwinding. She starts treating her tired mind like an employee who is underperforming. Work better, rest better, think less, be stronger, catch up. But pressure does not heal pressure, so the room stays quiet and her head stays loud. A few nights later, she is back on the edge of the bed. Same lamp, same window, same hand against her forehead. Outside, the street is dim and still. The glass in front of her holds a faint reflection of her own face. For a moment, she is looking both at the night and at herself, layered on top of it. And in that stillness, something honest finally rises. Nothing is wrong, but nothing in me is resting. That is the sentence. Not polished, not poetic, just true. She sits there and feels how much of her mind has been living like a guard at the gate, scanning, interpreting, rehearsing, anticipating, trying to prevent hurt before it has shape. And then the deeper truth opens. I am not this tired because I am weak. I am this tired because my mind has not been allowed to put its bags down. That is the point where the story breaks open. Not because all the pain disappears, but because she stops lying about what it is. She is not hurting because life is impossible. She is hurting because she has been carrying invisible weight as if it were normal. Old disappointments she never really grieved. Pressure she keeps calling just life. The habit of monitoring every silence. The fear that if she relaxes, something important will fall apart. The private belief that if she cannot handle all of this quietly, then something must be wrong with her. That last belief is the cruelest one, because it turns overload into shame, and shame adds its own stone to the pile. She does not need a miracle in that moment. She needs accuracy. She needs to stop calling herself broken when the truer word is burdened. That night, she reaches for a notebook, not to write something beautiful, not to fix herself, just to tell the truth in plain language. She writes, I am tired of anticipating everything. I am tired of carrying feelings I never name. I am tired of being fine before I am honest. I am overwhelmed. Then she does one small thing that feels almost rebellious. She leaves one message unanswered. Not forever, just until tomorrow. The world does not collapse. A second small thing follows. She turns her phone face down, puts both feet on the floor, and sits in the quiet without trying to fill it. No video, no noise, no forcing herself to be positive, just breathing, just noticing, just letting one moment be one moment. Her mind is still noisy, but it is no longer being attacked. The next morning, the heaviness is not gone. That matters, because real change rarely arrives like a movie scene. The tiredness is still there, but something in her is softer toward it. At the window, with the first pale light coming in, she puts water on for tea and does not accuse herself before the day begins. That is new. She does not say, "What is wrong with me?" She says, "What has been too heavy for me to carry alone?" That question changes the room. It does not solve everything, but it removes the violence from the way she sees herself. And sometimes healing begins there. Not when the mind becomes perfectly quiet. Not when every thought is sorted out. Not when you suddenly become strong enough to carry everything with a smile. Sometimes healing begins when your pain is finally named correctly. When you stop calling exhaustion laziness. When you stop calling overload weakness. When you stop calling inner strain a personal failure. Because clarity is not cold. Clarity can be mercy. It can be the first gentle hand laid on a place that has been hurting for a long time. So if your mind has been feeling heavy lately, even when nothing looks terribly wrong from the outside, do not rush to condemn yourself. You may not be weak. You may be mentally overfull, emotionally backed up, tired from carrying unnamed things in silence, tired from living as if your mind must stay on guard, even in safe rooms. And maybe your next step does not need to be dramatic. Maybe it looks like a notebook, a quiet room, one honest sentence, one small kindness toward the mind that has been carrying too much. The window may still be dark tonight. The room may still be quiet. Your thoughts may not settle all at once, but the weight changes the moment you stop becoming one more thing that crushes you. And if your mind has been carrying too much, you are not alone here.